At night, a chilling cackle cuts the darkness. It's the spotted hyena, crocuta, laughing over death. But that laugh hides a vicious truth. This scavenger rips rivals apart to steal kills. Why does laughter become violence? We built this story around one brutal question. How does a laughing scavenger turn into a ripping machine when carcasses are at stake? What anatomy, senses, and social rules drive that savage escalation? The hyena's laugh is a signal and a threat. It announces presence, panic, and a challenge. Each chuckle can inflame a fight over meat, turning a dispute into a bloody conclusion. Meet crocuta. Not a canine, not quite feline. Its body is a toolkit for ripping and resisting. Tonight, we trace teeth to tactics and sound to slaughter to see why carcasses spark such brutality. This creature thrives on conflict. Its life is a ledger of stolen kills and seized opportunities. The laugh invites rivals and often ends with torn flesh and shattered bones. To understand the violence, we start with the machine, the hyena's body. Every bone, jaw, and muscle evolved to dominate carcasses, to bite through hide, sinew, and even bone itself. The hyena's skull is a fortress. Massive zygomatic arches, reinforced jaws, and thick muscles give crushing force far beyond size. These jaws can ruin a rib cage and extract marrow like a crowbar. Teeth are specialized tools. The premolars are jagged shears designed to slice flesh and grind bone. Hyenas literally eat calcium. Their digestive systems tolerate pathogens and fragments other predators avoid. Musculature centers on the neck and shoulders. That anchoring power allows a hyena to twist and tear with relentless force. When two fight, raw pulling strength decides who drags the prize away. Beyond bones, skin, and fur are battle-ready. Thick hide and loose neck skin reduce fatal bites. Wounds close, scars accumulate. Each scar tells a history of stolen meat and violent negotiations. The hyena brain is compact and cunning. It balances scavenger instincts with complex social cognition. Decisions at a carcass are constant cost-benefit calculations. Fight, flee, or bluff until reinforcements arrive. Senses are tuned for death. Their noses detect carrion at long range, lungs sampling the wind for decay. Night vision and acute hearing track the faintest rustle. A stolen scrap can be a death sentence. Their larynx and vocal anatomy produce complex calls. The laugh conveys identity, urgency, rank, and intent. Acoustic power can summon clanmates, escalate aggression, or bluff dominance when numbers are uncertain. Digestive acids are extreme. Hyenas process rotting meat, hair, and bone without infection. Microbiomes adapted to feast on danger let them clean carcasses. Other predators reject, and that increases contest frequency. Sexual dimorphism twists expectations. Females are larger and more aggressive. Female dominance means most fights start with females enforcing access to kills, shaping the drama of carcass theft. Hyena metabolism runs on unpredictability. Fat reserves, hunting flexibility, and scavenging tolerance let them gamble. Risk a fight for meat now, or starve later. Evolution favored those who took violent chances. Anatomy explains capacity. Behavior explains the cruelty. How do these features play out at a stinking carcass under moonlight? We watch fights, alliances, and betrayals unfold in tight choreography. Hyenas use numbers like weapons. A single individual might wait and laugh, drawing rivals. When 10 arrive, the balance of power shifts. Stolen kills become territory writ in blood and sound. They are both hunters and thieves. While clans will hunt medium prey, much of their success comes from seizing what others kill. Speed, nerve, and coordinated pressure turn theft into a ritual of violence. The laugh functions as a social grenade. It signals chaos and invites conflict. Lions, vultures, jackals, every competitor listens. That laugh can provoke a stampede of scavengers, each hoping to claim a scrap. When confrontation begins, hyenas target limbs and faces to incapacitate. They bite, pull, and hold. The objective is not elegant killing, but efficient domination. Make the rival flee or be torn apart. Hierarchy dictates risk. High-ranking hyenas usurp kills with confidence, while juveniles skulk at the edges. Social standing thus becomes literal calories. Rank feeds bodies and cements power through violence. Coalitions form like military units. Pairs or small groups flank, distract, and bite. Cooperative aggression allows even subordinate individuals to snatch food by exploiting chaos and loyalty among attackers. Deception is common. A hyena may laugh without intent to feed, merely to summon allies or frighten a competitor. Bluffing changes the economics of a carcass, sometimes winning without a single bite. Hyenas are relentless when wounded. Their tolerance for pain keeps them in fights longer, turning scraps into drawn-out battles where attrition decides ownership, not speed or stealth. They exploit animal behavior. Hyenas shadow predators, waiting for errors. A lion kills, then rests. Hyenas sense that lull, move in, and the stage is set for theft, and often deadly confrontation. Night shifts advantage hyenas. Their nocturnal habits minimize heat stress and leverage better vision in low light. Dusk is a marketplace of corpses and a theater of conflict, with laughter as the opening bell. They also hunt cooperatively. During coordinated hunts, success can be high, but when kills are large or unpredictable, the prize attracts parties willing to fight tooth and claw for the spoils. Hyenas evaluate risk in seconds. They read size, number, and injury. If odds tilt, they press. If danger increases, they withdraw. That split-second calculus often decides whether a carcass becomes a battlefield. Territorial scent marks become warnings. A clan's stench on the wind can deter lone thieves. But hunger erases etiquette. The smell is respected until brute force rewrites ownership in blood and sound. Scavenging amplifies disease risk. Yet hyenas' immune systems and microbiomes handle pathogens other carnivores avoid. That tolerance makes them indispensable cleaners and frequent combatants over the most dangerous meals. When prey is scarce, competition intensifies. Scarcity sharpens aggression, and the hyena's laugh becomes an equalizer, an invitation to chaos that only the bold survive to relish. A stolen kill is more than calories, it's reputation. Winning a carcass boosts rank and mating prospects. The stakes explain why fights escalate from warnings to mortal assaults. Instances of cannibalism occur in extreme stress. Adults may attack pups or fallen clan members when resources collapse. It's a horror born of survival calculus, brutal, efficient, and terrifyingly pragmatic. The laughter that invites slaughter also structures society. To understand violence at a carcass, we must peer into hyena clans, hierarchies, alliances, and the cruel economics of social life. Hyena clans are matriarchal tyrannies. Dominant females rule access to kills and mate first. That female-led aggression channels many carcass conflicts. Often, females are the prime aggressors in theft battles. Rank is inherited. Daughters of alphas enjoy early access to food and support in fights. This dynastic advantage fuels cycles of violence. The powerful keep power by winning carcasses repeatedly. Alliances shift like weather. Temporary cooperation at a kill can dissolve into betrayal the moment better opportunities arise. Loyalty is transactional. Tonight's ally may be tomorrow's rival for stolen meat. Scent, posture, and vocal exchanges regulate conflict. A low growl, a high laugh, a flank display. Each cue negotiates violence. But when signals fail, teeth decide the argument definitively. Juveniles learn violence early. Pups watch, mimic, and test limits at carcasses. Those early bouts teach technique and risk tolerance, shaping future scavengers who will either steal boldly or be stolen from. Pregnant females exploit status to secure nutrition. In a clan where food is contested, rank determines fetal survival. That pressure explains why conflicts over kills are not petty. They are reproductive battles. Elder hyenas, scarred and clever, mediate fights through presence. Their authority reduces lethal outcomes by intimidating challengers. But authority falters when hunger overrides respect. Coalitions reflect kinship and reciprocity. Sisters band together to snatch kills from unrelated rivals. These alliances are strategic. Blood ties make theft a collective exercise in violent economics. Intraclannish infanticide is a grim strategy. High-ranking females sometimes kill or ignore subordinate pups to reduce competition for resources. Survival for some means death for others. A ruthless natural calculus. When clans meet, displays can deter wars. Still, carcasses are negotiation points. Battles over kills scale up from posturing to flanking maneuvers, with laughter as both trumpet and trigger. Outsiders face uncertain fates. Lone hyenas risk injury and death when trying to steal. Success requires cunning and timing. Failure means being torn apart as an example to the next intruder. Sociability is a survival strategy. Clans that coordinate better secure more kills and defend them harder. Social cohesion thus becomes armor against theft and the violent scramble it provokes. Hyenas remember grudges. Past defeats shape future behavior. A scarred hyena may avoid a rival or ambush them later. Memory makes every carcass theft part of a longer, blood-streaked narrative. Violence at the carcass ties directly to reproduction. Food secures offspring. Now we examine the life cycle: births, nursing, growth, and the sacrifices that ensure the clan survives. Hyenas have unusual genital morphology in females that affects social signaling and mating. This physiology, tied to dominance, shapes breeding dynamics and the fierce competition for resources necessary to rear young. Gestation lasts about 3 months. Females give birth in dens where pups face immediate danger from starvation and aggression. Early life is brutal. Survival rates depend on maternal rank and carcass access. Pups are fed on regurgitated meat and bone fragments high in calcium. Mothers defending kills are literally nourishing future fighters, training the next generation of thieves and brawlers through nutrition and example. Suckling bouts are competitive. High-ranking pups monopolize teats, grow faster, and better survive fights for food. Inequality at the teat becomes inequality at the carcass in adolescence. Adolescents learn to steal and defend. Play fights turn into real strategizing. When to howl, when to wait, whom to recruit. These lessons decide whether they will be victors or prey in adult disputes. Mortality is high. Starvation, predation, and intraclan violence claim many. The brutal fight for carcasses filters the population, leaving only those adapted to steal, defend, and survive scars. Mating privileges favor dominant females. Access to kills increases fertility and pup survival. Thus, carcass control becomes a reproductive engine, driving the clan's genetic future through violence at meals. Occasionally, males disperse and attempt takeover of clans. These invasions trigger brutal battles over both territory and food. The outcome rewires social order and who inherits access to carcasses. Cannibalism among adults or pups appears under extreme deprivation. It's the darkest calculus. When carcasses are scarce, kinship dissolves into survival, and the social fabric tears as food becomes more precious than compassion. Long-term survival depends on learning to balance risk and reward. Those who time thefts perfectly raise offspring. Those who misjudge fights die young. Reproduction and violence are braided threads in hyena life. Hyenas are not monsters out of context. They are ecosystem engineers. To grasp their brutality, we must see the larger web. Carcass cleaners, predators, and the flow of nutrients they control. As scavengers, hyenas consume remains that would otherwise breed disease. Their ability to grind bone recycles nutrients quickly, shaping soil fertility and the food web in ways invisible to casual observers. Competition with lions and vultures structures savannah communities. When hyenas dominate carcass removal, scavenger diversity shifts. Their violence at kills thus has cascading ecological consequences. In areas where hyenas decline, carcasses persist longer, altering decomposer communities and disease dynamics. Their absence can ripple across ecosystems, demonstrating that brutality serves a functional role. Hyena predation and theft also regulate prey populations. By capitalizing on kills and scavenging, they modulate numbers of mesopredators and influence herbivore mortality patterns, indirectly shaping plant communities. They compete with humans for livestock. That friction increases retaliatory killings. When hyenas are culled, ecosystems shift and scavenging pressure moves to other species, with unpredictable consequences. Hyenas are vectors of cultural fear. Their laughter becomes myth, witches, omens, and ghost stories. But that fear often drives policies that ignore the hyena's ecological value and exacerbate conflict. Population dynamics hinge on resource availability. When carcass abundance shifts due to drought or human hunting, hyena behavior escalates. More scarcity equals fiercer fights and more frequent ripping of rivals. Their presence affects scavenger community structure. Dominant hyena clans can exclude jackals and smaller predators, concentrating putrefaction removal into fewer hands and reshaping local biodiversity patterns. In human-altered landscapes, hyenas adapt by scavenging dumps and roadkill. That adaptation increases human-wildlife contact, raising conflict and intensifying lethal responses that undermine ecological balance. Despite their ferocity, hyenas maintain ecosystem hygiene. Their brutal thefts and carcass monopolies are part of a system that prevents rot from spreading, showcasing how violence and cleanliness can be two sides of the same coin. Human activity rewrites the rules of theft and violence. Poaching, habitat loss, and garbage create new carcass economies. Hyenas respond, sometimes with increased aggression, sometimes with collapse, both grim outcomes. Conservation efforts often misread hyenas as villains, but protecting them stabilizes scavenger networks. Reducing conflict means fewer carcass-driven fights and healthier ecosystems, a key insight for coexistence. When livestock subsidies inflate food availability, hyena populations can surge, amplifying competition and theft. These booms can increase violent encounters with humans and other carnivores, a dangerous feedback loop. In protected areas, stable prey populations reduce carcass scarcity and lower violent theft frequency. Managed ecosystems show fewer bloody scrums over kills, highlighting how conservation can soften brutal behaviors. Now we confront the moral mirror. The laughter that sounds like murder forces uncomfortable questions about nature's cruelty, human responsibility, and where empathy fits into a world organized by hunger. Hyenas are painted as villains in folklore, but their violence is ecological logic. To vilify them is to ignore the complex role they play. Moral panic often masks ignorance of brutal but necessary systems. Killing hyenas in retaliation reduces an ecosystem's scavenging capacity. The immediate satisfaction of revenge can cascade into disease outbreaks, changed predator dynamics, and long-term collapse of ecological services. But coexistence is messy. Protecting hyenas requires protecting livelihoods. Practical solutions, fortified enclosures, community compensation, education can reduce deadly encounters and ease the war over carcasses. Scientific fascination must avoid romanticizing cruelty. Understanding the mechanisms behind carcass theft and ripping rivals apart is important. But so is acknowledging the suffering these interactions cause to animals and people. Media thrives on sensationalism, the laughing killer. We must balance that appetite with nuance. Hyenas are brutal, yes, but they are also adaptive survivors and vital ecosystem agents. Fieldwork changes impressions. Observers learn the subtle language behind the laughs, not mere malice, but signals of negotiation, pain, recruitment, and desperation. The sound is complex, not simply monstrous. Conservation is political. Saving hyenas means addressing human hunger, poaching, and land use. Otherwise, the same forces that provoked violent theft will push hyenas toward conflict and possible local extinction. There is beauty in brutality's logic. The hyena's laugh is a tool shaped by evolution to solve scarcity. Appreciating that doesn't sanitize violence, but it helps us design smarter protections. Ethics require hard choices. Intervene to save individual animals, or preserve ecological processes that include violence. There are no clean answers, only trade-offs, and responsibility lies with the living and the institutions we create. We've seen anatomy, behavior, society, and consequence. The image of a laughing scavenger ripping rivals apart is visceral, but now we must reconcile that horror with the science we uncovered tonight. Crocuta's laughter is a signal. Its jaws are tools. Its society enforces access. Together, they turn carcasses into arenas where theft becomes violence, and survival is measured in scars and stolen meat. The ripping of rivals over kills is not senseless savagery, but an evolved strategy to secure resources. Anatomy, cognition, and social rules converge to make the hyena a terrifyingly efficient scavenger. When you hear a hyena laugh, remember you're listening to a social calculus in motion, an invitation, a threat, and sometimes the prelude to deadly force for a scrap of flesh. If this disturbed you, let it also motivate you. Support conservation projects that reduce human-hyena conflict. Fund research into scavenger ecology. And learn more before writing off a creature in folklore. Community-based solutions work. Livestock protection, scavenger-friendly policies, and education lower violent encounters. Small changes can prevent hyenas from becoming desperate thieves and communities from losing livestock. We came for the laugh and found a network of hunger, strategy, and survival. The spotted hyena is brutal, but it is also necessary. An organism shaped by scarcity into a tool for cleaning the world. Crocuta forces us to confront unpleasant truths. Nature is indifferent, and sometimes beautiful cruelty is ecological necessity. The laugh lingers as both warning and lesson. Tonight, you heard how laughter can escalate into murder. You saw how anatomy, behavior, and social structure conspire at the carcass. The scene is brutal, informed, and deeply revealing of natural logic. Remember the faces behind the sound. Dominant females who enforce order, juveniles learning aggression, and loners risking everything for meat. Their lives are raw and often short. The laughter that sounds like murder asks us to listen differently. Not for monsters, but for systems, harsh, efficient, and necessary. Hyenas are both harbingers and healers of the savannah. We leave the savannah with mixed feelings, revulsion at the ripping, and awe for the design behind it. The hyena's laugh is a raw chord in nature's symphony, dissonant but essential. If humanity continues to reshape landscapes, the hyena's role will shift. That could mean fewer laughs, fewer carcasses cleared, and more ecological collapse. Our choices ripple into the night. Conservation asks for humility. Accept that some ecological processes are brutal. Protecting hyenas does not glamorize violence. It maintains balance that benefits many species, including humans. Stay curious. Every laugh and every rip is a lesson in survival. If you want more dark biology, subscribe, learn, and challenge the easy stories that make nature only a horror show. The spotted hyena remains a paradox, a laughing scavenger that rips rivals apart over stolen kills and a keystone cleaner of ecosystems. In its laughter, we hear both warning and an ancient necessity.